Happy Tuesday morning, legends. We've got plenty of info to find out this afternoon with those team lists. But before we do that, let's get into the next 3 game impact, the analysis on those 3. And I've actually changed the colors there a little bit for the next 3, just adjusting them for my thoughts there as to what the run is like. And we've got the light green there, which is sort of the middle of the road run. We have the red, which I think is the hardest run, and then the blue, the light blue there is the easier type of run over the next 3 weeks there. So let's kick it off with the Tigers up top. And obviously we do, coming into round 7, I'm going to do a buy planning video next week. I do think it's a tiny bit early for most people. In the meantime, guys, just jump on and have a look at making a little sheet. So I've got the all the buys set out there, and I've got from round 8 all the way through to round 20 with the players that I've got in my side and those who I'm maybe looking at, and got a green coloring there on when they have a buy. But I'll go through a bigger buy planning video when we come into next week, round 8. So the Tigers, guys, I think they have a pretty tough run over the next 3 weeks. And the Dogs are even playing really good at the moment too. So Panthers, Broncos into the Doggies. I wouldn't be buying any Tigers at the moment. So Galvin's anyone you will need. If anyone still doesn't own Galvin, I still think that he's a great purchase. He looks like he's someone that can hold his own in defense there. Hasn't missed any tackles in the couple of games that he's played, and he's still managed to run the footy and do some good things on that front. The Tigers are a much better team with him in their side, but I am worried a little bit. Obviously, the Panthers not having Cleary is helpful on that front, and they did get beat by the Manly boys, but I do think after a bye for them, they'll come out fit and firing, and Broncos will likely in round 8 have Payne Haas back as well, and potentially Adam Reynolds. So that could be a really tough little run. So don't buy any Tigers at this point. Just remember as well, they had the bye in round 1. They've got one in 13, and after that round 13, they have no bye until right at the back end of the year in round 26. So they're a terrific purchase in that front there. Sweet. As I just scrolled there, it just reminded me of the comments that a few guys are making as a little reminder. They would love to see the left panel, the row there, stuck steady. So I have done that now. Thank you for the reminder. Mid-video, fix that up. Worked out how to do it because I'm not too technologically illiterate. Illiterate. There you go. I am illiterate. Titans are next, guys. I think they have a pretty tough run as well. Eagles, Waz, and Storm. 3 teams that are doing really, really well. Top 4 teams, top 8 team at least in the Eagles there, knocking off the Panthers and then tying with the Warriors on the weekend. So that situation, obviously with Jaden Campbell as well, it's a bit of a worry. I do think there's obviously some solid buys, maybe a little bit late on guys like Jamin Jolliffe. Potentially a Beau Fermor is firming into potentially people's teams as well. And Kieran Foran, if we still don't see Tanner Boyd that returning, if Campbell is out, then he's going to be an interesting one as well with the kick meters and the like for Kieran. But it was kind of just a really good game for him, and he'll definitely come back to the pack. But outside of those few players, I don't think that any attacking players you should be looking to grab. And that could be a worry on Foran as well, even with that base that he has there for sure. So Titans are obviously a team as well that you get all the way through to round 13, but they have 13 and 17, as well as the Bunnies there, and then the Eagles have 13 and 17 as well. So that's the Titans. Not too exciting of a team over the next 3 weeks. Dolphins, they have a middle of the road run in my opinion with the Eels, Knights, and Cowboys. So a few teams that can score some points, but defensively they can leak a little bit. My main worry with the Dolphins right now is the fact that they've got a host of their really important players injured. We should see Max Plath returning, but he's a bit of an awkward price, obviously. Your Aiken probably going to keep his spot for a little while. We potentially have a new fullback. If Cody Nikorima is out as well, I think is the case. With Hammer being out, what will they do at fullback? They've still got Herbie out as well, so there could be a player or two that come in to fill some spots in this side. And look, I'm not too worried about their run. So if you're looking at that, then that's sweet. They play round 13. They miss 14 and 18. So they have a really good run for non-Origin guys, considering that round 18 is a standalone bye. And round 14, obviously, if you can get through 13 and not have too many Raiders or Roosters coming into 14, then they'll be a solid team to have. But I do think that for the majority of your trades coming into the next few weeks, is you're looking at getting them longer term rather than sort of a 4-week rental. Because a 4-week rental next week or this week gets you to around 11 or 12, right? and that's not super exciting, because if they lose their spot in the side, you're going to have to trade them coming into that round 13. And unless they're going to get a bulk points and bulk cash to be made, then it's a hard one to make that, justify that selection. That's for sure. So that's the Dolphins at this stage. The Storm Boys, Roosters, Rabbitohs, and Titans. So they have a really nice run, in my opinion. I do think that the Bunnies will struggle a little bit after that bye. There's so much noise around them. So Roosters aren't playing incredibly well. Like if Ponga was at his best there and didn't get injured, and obviously didn't let that try through for Smith because he was not well on the ground, I do think they win this game. And yeah, Roosters they're in a little bit of strife, but they should get some cattle back, and that'll be helpful. But we know that the Storm kind of elevate their game against the better teams. Like they really elevated against Broncos there, and they should be able to do the same against the Roosters, obviously away from home. But then you get the Bunnies at home into the Titans away, which they always love hanging up there on the Gold Coast, that's for sure. Anyway, I spent plenty of time on the Sunshine Coast for COVID, so yeah, they'll be fine over the next 3 weeks, and then into Sharks, Eels, and Eagles there. So a pretty solid run until round 13 for the Stormers. Obviously, you've got Shawnee Bloor as a potential trade-in target this week. Guys like Eli Katoa had a bit of a low one, but I think Bloor would be the guy you want to look at in that one. And hopefully a big week from Harry for us owners of him, even after that little 5 extra points. Good man. Sharkies, they have a middle of the road run with Cowboys, Raiders, and Dragons. 2 games at home, Raiders away. That'll be a fun one there for the Sharkies. And yeah, if you got Nico Hines, I still think he's a clear captaincy option for this week. You'd want to hope so. I'm seeing a few people on Facebook groups that are trading like Nico Hines to DCE. Is like, what do you think of this one? Just don't, guys. Nico's going to come out and eventually have a big game. He's not playing his absolute best right now, but it will happen at some point for sure. As games start to open up a little bit more, and against Cowboys, they let a lot of points in. So I think that he could definitely do some good things against the Cows in that one. And really, targets from that one, they play all the way through to round 16, which is pretty cool for the Sharkies, and then round 20. So you get 2 of the 3 major buys. You get 14 and 17 out of them. So 13, 14, 17, 19. So they missed 1 in that first 4 important matchups there, which is really cool. 5 important matchups in the bye period. Really, really cool. So McInnes, someone that you could look at for sure. I think the outside backs is pretty hard to target. Obviously, Raymond's a little bit underpriced given his output this year. Sione Katoa had a good game on the weekend. Ronaldo is probably a little bit overpriced considering how well he has played. That's always going to regress back to the mean, but they are going a little bit more left with Trindle as well. So that's something to note. And Britton Nikra, obviously another one to target as well after his good game on the weekend. That's the Sharkies. Panthers, they have a terrific draw. So you look at the next 4 even, and they've got Bulldogs there in round 10. Tigers, Cowboys, and Rabbitohs over the next 3. So Panthers, guys, I really wish Taylor May was playing because I think you could finally score some good points. But any attacking players from Panthers, this could be the time to have, the Dylan Edwards, the Brian To'os, the Isaac Tungo, these types of guys for a lovely run. And obviously playing round 13, 14 as well, having their bye in 16. You get this lovely run of games. Yeah, and then it is into Warriors, Sharks, Dragons in round 13. So it's still a really solid run the whole way through. Attacking players, edge guys could be really cool. Obviously, it's like Garner and Garner at the moment we probably don't want to buy, but that's what I'd be looking at with the Panthers players in this one. So yeah, good purchases there. Rabbitohs, they have the bye this week, and then Storm Panthers. So yeah, not touching any Rabbitohs guys. Obviously, if we find out a bit more info on Jai Gray, as if he's going to continue playing in the fullback spot, then that could be really cool. But outside of that, it's a very hard team to target, so we'll leave them for this week, given they have the bye. Obviously, Murray and Totola are sells. Totola, I just saw on Instagram, he had his surgery done yesterday, so hopefully a swift recovery from him, and Murray's okay after his HIA as well. Doggies, they have the Knights this week, then the bye, then the Tigers. So a nice couple of games in and around that round 8 bye. They're a very interesting team, guys, because if you can hold on to sort of 2 or 3, look, we're likely to hold on to Salmon, to Hughes, and then if you have like a Curran, Carraz, these types of guys, then they're going to be holds, I think, through that bye, because you get them in round 13, 14, a standalone bye in 15. They play 16, 17, have the bye in 19, but play 20 as well. So they play 5 out of the 6 majors in that period as well, which is super helpful. if you want to do well through the bye period. That's it's something that can really be done, and hopefully that means that, I suppose, by like round 13, 14, if you can still have Hughesy at least playing some decent minutes, maybe Salmon as well. If we can get them all the way through to sort of 16 at least, then they can be potentially trades from there, to be honest, leading into sort of 18, 19. We'll see how that one goes with the Bulldogs there. So solid game this week. I think they'll all score fairly well, especially if Ponga isn't at his healthiest, but it looks like he with 10 days rest, he probably will. And then the Eels come up next. So Dolphins into the Seagulls. I've got them in the middle range because Dolphins are obviously have a few out, but they've been playing pretty well, apart from that 10 minutes against the Broncos on the weekend. Into the Eagles and then their bye. So they're obviously a team as well that you get them all the way through to round 16, which is great. They have a bye in 16 and 20, the exact same to that of Sharkies. They just have their bye a little bit later than the Sharks here in round 9. So those two games should be solid for them, but they have their bye, then come back to Broncos and Storm, which will be pretty tough there for sure as well. So yeah, if you're looking to have Eels, maybe 3 max. There's some news that Blaze Talangi is going to be playing off the bench this week. It's not super ideal, considering, I think this week it's fine, but we either want him out of the team or we don't really want him on the bench because he'll start to lose money for us eventually. Like if he plays 10 to 15 minutes off the bench on the weekend, he has a mid-teens break even and will lose money. So yeah, there's that. If there's an injury early, he'll play out the full most of the game, which can be cool as well. Hopefully he doesn't. I saw a few people say, "Oh, he's ruining my loop," unfortunately. So yeah, there you go. So it's the Eels, Raiders. They have a tough one here. Broncos into Sharks and Eagles. I think that's one of the toughest, probably the lower end compared to a couple of the others, like the Tigers, obviously Panthers, Broncos. In there as well, so they don't have the Panthers. But if you're holding a few of these guys, I think Danny Levi's in a little bit of strife over the next few weeks. It's not going to cause any issues for guys like Smithies and Tarpanay and Fogarty, I don't think, really. Like he's just going to get big kick meters and good tackle numbers in these type of games, for sure. So Raiders guys, again, you probably want to hold a few. They have their standalone bye in round 10, and then they have one in 14 as well. So if you can at least get a couple, holding a couple through round 14, if you can get through that, then they have a bye in round 19 as well. So there's a few kind of, position close-ish together. But if you can hold a couple through 14, you get them in 16, 17, and in a good position from there, obviously playing round 13 as well. So I think 2 is probably the number you're going to want heading into round 14, 13 definitely, because of the fact that you've got 2 other teams on the bye, and you can, you need 17 basically in round 14, and it's going to be hard to do that for sure. So yeah, that's what you need to kind of look at with, when you're looking at your Raiders players, just how many do you actually want to hold through that period and through that round 10 bye. The Dragons come up next. They have a middle of the road run there with Warriors, Roosters into the Sharkies. So 3 teams there that I think that, if you've got a Lomax, as an outside back player, he's probably the only one you want. If you're holding on to Sully, it's fine. He's probably a sell eventually. But Dragons, again, if you can hold him all the way through, he has a bye in round 16. You get through round 11. He plays 13 and 14. And then you could sell from there if you just wanted a number. If he's not a priority sell for you. And in the forwards, there's probably no one to look at this stage in the Dragons. For the Knights, they have the Dogs, Dolphins, and the Wars. So a fairly solid kind of run over the next 3. And it should be pretty good for that of Kalen Ponga to do well. If you got Kai Paul, if you haven't bought him yet, I still think he's a purchase. Obviously, a massive score on the weekend of 66 with a 4 down date. But he still hasn't scored a try. He hasn't got that try assist yet. I think that all that is going to come eventually. And yeah, so it's KP, it's KPP, and then KPP, and then you've got guys like Greg Marzu who a little bit undervalued now. But on the right-hand side, is he going to have a bit of a run over the next few weeks? They then have Tigers, Titans. So they probably have the best 5-game run of anyone, in my opinion. Whereas a couple of the others here, these next 2 teams, Eagles and Warriors, come up against the Broncos and Storm or sort of Panthers in that next little period. So yeah, they have a really nice run along with teams like the Cowboys. Still a pretty solid run throughout the entirety of the next sort of 6 rounds. But that's the Knights that we spoke about. So they're a couple of guys to look at. Broncos next. They've got the Raiders, Tigers, and Roosters over the next 3, so fairly solid for them. Nothing really, stands out too much, and I do think there should be some good scoring from guys like Cobbo, from guys like Walsh over the next few weeks. Although, they were scoring fairly well against good teams anyway. Well, is Willison a good purchase? There's some chatter around Payne Haas is back at training and could be sort of a chance to play this week, but very if it's a chance to play this week, it seems like it'll be definitely in round 8. Which is good. Carrigan still killing it. Would you buy Carrigan? Probably not now. Like, he's gone up so much and he's kind of scoring exactly, well, apart from the 70 last week. If he's in that early 60s, that's where he's priced at now. So that's all you can say on that one. Outside of that, Broncos, not too much there. Eagles, they have a nice run. Titans, Eels, Raiders, in my opinion. And do you buy anyone? It's sort of like Corey Bedell at the moment. Do you go for a turbo? Outside of that, Garrick, obviously, he's going to lose some money this week and could be a nice purchase coming into round 8, I think, in my opinion. But if you expect him to come back and do good things against the Titans and you could jump the gun early, that would be fine as well. For the Wars, it's Dragons, Titans, and Knights, so a lovely run for them. I think there's going to be a lot of points in those games, which is great. That's what you want from a Warriors standpoint. If you've got Tohu Harris, so you're holding on to him or wanting him, then that's great. Go for it. SJ, if you want to grab him this week, not a problem at all. They have a bye in round 13 and then also in round 19. So, you're getting him for 14, 16, 17, which is good. But, a guy that you're going to hold on for the entirety of the year. If you're looking for Chance, then that's a good purchase, a good little run of games as well. At least you'll be able to get his run meters, potentially a try or a try assist as well, which is great. That's probably it on the Warriors side. I think they have a nice run. And then Roosters and Cowboys to finish. The Roosters, fairly tough for them. Storm into Dragons away, into Broncos away, and the Wars following that. So if you're looking at guys like that, obviously it's Crichton that is the big guy on the list this week, and I don't think it's going to matter for him who he comes up against. That right side defense was for the Storm was a bit poor last week. So, imagine Crichton will be able to get a few tackle breaks and line break assists and the like, potentially, just like Kickout did, but he's a different Kickout's a different prospect to that of Gus, that's for sure. They've got a bunch of other guys doing well, but I think they're all holds at this point. Like, if you still don't have Terrell May, what are you doing? But it's guys like Brandon Smith that are clear holds, and Radley's and the like there as well. Nat Butcher should be able to score 50 on a weekly basis, you'd imagine, especially with Satilli down with the head knock this week and out. Outside backs from the Roosters, not super exciting for guys like Joey Manu, obviously, but we know the Storm can leak some points, and if he's back to centre, he can do well there. He's done well against good teams before. It doesn't matter too much for him, especially playing that good this year. And then Cowboys to finish off, guys. They've got the Sharks away, which I think they're in a bit of strife for that one, into the Panthers at home, and then Dolphins at home. So Dolphins with some injuries. They should have a couple back by that point. Not Hammer, not Gilbert, obviously. But Flegler should be back fit and firing. We may have like Herbie back from there. So I do think that's a fairly tough little run. And then you've got sort of the Titans there away into Bunnies and Tigers. So a nice, as I said, complete 6-game run, but a couple of tougher games here, the next 2 in my opinion, in Sharkies and the Panthers. So if you're looking at their attacking plays in Holmes and Talangi and Drinky and these types of guys, then expect maybe slightly lower over the next few weeks, unless they can step up their defense and play some good error-free footy. Then I do think they might struggle a little bit. And, guys like Cotter's going to get plenty of work through the middle, which is good for him, and Robson. And then a nice run of attacking stats over the next, the following 4 weeks. So that's the chat coming into this week, guys. So the next 3 games impact. I hope that really helped you guys with your thoughts around potentially players that you might want to target, and obviously a little bit of a keen eye on round 13, as we always have in this video and those following rounds as well. If you're a head-to-head player, then don't stress too much about those buys there. Just check your league settings if you've got games. If you've got games in round 13, 16, 19, then you can base your trades really around, once you get close to round 12, round 13, you can have a look at the type of players that your opponent that you have in round 13, because you can look at that ahead, and see how many players they're looking to have in round 13. And maybe if you can just have like that one extra, if you think you're going to be able to beat that team in that week, then maybe you don't have to trade too heavy. If you have a buy, if you're not playing in round 13, 16, 19 in your league, then happy days. You don't have to stress too much about looking forward to those ones. But what that would help with is actually if your player has a bye in round 13, a player in one of your teams, right, has a bye in round 13, 16, and 19, if they have 2 of them, then that's going to be best for you, because when your player has a bye, you're not even having a matchup. So that's great. So you want to target players that don't play in round 13, 16, or 19 as a head-to-head perspective. And from an overall perspective, then it's just getting as many players on the park across that period of time as possible. So that's where guys like Tigers, once their round 13 bye is done, then they have a clear run. They play every single one of those games from round 14 onwards to 20, which is great. You're looking at the Titans, and they just have the 1 bye after round 13. Like, there's all different little strategies that you can play. Once that round 13 is is gone through, you can start to pivot to guys that have that have got through that one, and they might have 1 left in that time frame. You get through the Warriors or the Storm, and they don't have a bye until round 19. So you can get through to round 19 and then potentially flick 1 or 2 of them. So there's plenty of strategies to go through when you're looking at your team. And that's going to be great. We'll get into that over the next few weeks very deeply. And I know it helped out a lot of people last year when I had that chat with Mark, and we'll get through that through the next 3 weeks. Good luck, guys, heading into this week. Can't wait for team lists and making our trades from there.